Yes. So, uh, yes. So, uh, so yes, when you know, uh, so so yes, so when it comes to preaching, preaching doesn't mean just like Bharat Maharaj's case. The problem with Bharat Maharaj was, no, the problem was not that he picked up and saved the deer. That was not the problem. That was all fine. That was glorified. That was not the problem. So he became, so he picked up the deer. That was not the problem. The problem was, no, actually, we may say, okay, material nature is very harsh because material nature made Bharat Maharaj into a deer. But actually, it is not material nature that made Bharat Maharaj into a deer. Bharat Maharaj himself became a deer. Now, yeah, you see the point. You see the point. There is a point in this. The point is, there is a point. Bharat Maharaj picked up the deer. That is fine. That's glorified. But his mistake was he became a deer in that very life itself. What do you mean became a deer? Because he gave up his activities of he gave up his identity and his activities of being a devotee, and he started adopting the activities of a deer. That is what that is what is the meaning, or that is what is the meaning of saying that actually Bharat Maharaj became a deer. You know? So he actually became a deer. Material nature is facilitated. Okay, you are anyways becoming a deer. Now take the body, then it will help you. So one should not criticize material energy. Bharat Maharaj actually became a deer himself. He gave up his spiritual practices. See, previously he was a king. Previously he was a king. He was a Kshatriya. So he gave up all those activities. Now he is no more a king and Kshatriya. So he became a devotee. So he adopted all devotee activities. And now when he picked up the deer, he gave up those devotee activities and he adopted the deer activities. He was not doing morning program. He adopted the deer activities. He was doing the deer, in the morning also he was doing deer, So he actually became a deer in his consciousness and activities, like that. And he was justifying, no problem. How can I, this, So only a dear parents will feel like that, no problem. How can I give up this fellow is taking shelter of me and all that, So one should not, so that was a big mistake. The Bharat Maharaj actually became a deer and therefore material nature facilitated him. So don't become a deer. That's the whole point. In preaching, one should not become a deer in terms of, like we had one second year devotee, so it sent him for follow-up. He didn't came for 4 hours back. Then you were wondering what happened to him. Then the group leader went to search, and so he found this boy, he was watching the movie, along with the first year, his follow-up group, 2-3 first years, and he, all of them watching the movie, and then he was caught red-handed, and then he was brought, and then he was summoned, when his court martial was being done, he said, no, Prabhu, we have to strike a chord, with the first year, so so we have to make sure actually that preaching means we give the knowledge. I mean, which side current is flowing? Preaching means the current should be flowing from us to others, not the reverse. Oh, how to manage finances, and no, don't learn reverse lessons, you know, what is going on in in the fashion, the new professional fashion, what kind of things are at the, uh, so reverse preaching should not happen. Sometimes we go for preaching and then we are taking fundas, oh, what is the material funda, oh, how do people, how does business and all that, so but that not funda is not for getting, inputs for preaching, but that funda is to, to set right our material things as well, like that. So then that is you see what's happening in dilution, is it not? So we have to understand in preaching, let the deer be the deer for the time being, so we tell the deer, you come up this side, you come up this side, you become a human being, not that I will become a deer, and so yeah, so this is very important in preaching, is it not? Uh, like that, so this is very important in preaching. This is a very important principle in parenting also. The child is an annamaya kosh, mode of ignorance. Janmana chayate shudra. Yeah, the child is a mode of ignorance, born template, mode of ignorance, like that. So now, one should not go to the plane of the child. Now because the child has come, I have to fully zoom on the child and all that. You be where you are, If you are where you are, the child will try to elevate himself, or herself, whatever, herself, himself, whatever gender, uh, so that fellow will try to, upgrade himself or herself. He'll say, okay, this fellow is not descending now. I need to ascend up, like that. Where is he, like that. You see, Prabhupada's father, Gaur Mohan De, he didn't go down, glide down. Although he's a Bengali father, he is not. He's a Bengali fellow, and the Bengali father, but he is not gliding down to the level of of that mundane attachment for the child. Although he had affection and love, but his affection and love was, my son should get blessings of Radharani. So you see the point. So he didn't glide down. He was getting up in the morning. He was not saying, oh, my son is sleeping. He's sleeping in my lap. Arey lap छोड़ो, तो पहले morning program करो, ना? Lap के चक्कर में, है ना? है कि नहीं, ना? Yeah. So she's saying there'll be Maya's tight strap in the lab ke chakkar mein, So he was getting up, like that. He was not saying, oh, my son is sleeping, poor fellow, let him sleep, why should I ring the bell, He was ringing the bell, dong, 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 Is it not, And so much so Prabhupada would wake up by the bell only, is it not, And Prabhupada would wake up and he will see, hey, father kya kar rahe hain, So and Prabhupada say, and he's not looking at his father, oh, mera beta aa gaya, chalo, come in my lap, gudu gudu gudu, no 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 punu punu, He was not doing any such thing like that, Okay, got up, I am doing my worship, He was focused on worship. So rather than, he dragging down, Prabhupada was dragged up. Because he was watching, अरे father किधर लगे हुए हैं, मुझे छोड़ के उधर लगे हुए हैं, मतलब कुछ काम की चीज है इसका मतलब, there is something substance in that, is it not? So Prabhupada picked it up, is it not? See, this is called as good parenting. Yeah, I have seen, good parents, what they do. They come 4:30 morning program, and they put the child in front of the Lord, that's it. And then they are focused on the Lord, not that they are focused on the child. Oh, gudu gudu gudu, you be whatever cozy and all that. Kya cozy, So they are doing they're sitting in the chanting circle, they're enthusiastic chanting, and this fellow is watching everyone. कोई भी भाव नहीं दे रहा है मुझे. Like this, the child is watching everyone. Sometimes some others will come for 2 minutes and do tuk and go. How much you do tuk and all that. So, but then this fellow, he also, slowly, watching others, he also becomes like that. He is also given a small mala. He is also sitting and, he is also chanting. Yeah, I have seen, 1.5 year child like that. Melbourne I'm talking about. So, Means he's not out of sight. The parents know that this fellow is there around, Huh. Yeah. And the parents are nicely attending Mangala Arati. They put the child in front, So from the corner of the eye, they can see this fellow is there. But the parents are not, okay, putting here, like that, and then the child is, so not no such thing like that. They just put him, And the child is saying, nobody looking at me. Where are they looking at? I'll also look there. So he's looking at the Lord, He's getting the impression of the Lord, So the fellow is upgrading, not that we degrade. This is a very important principle actually. So regulative principles are very important. That's what gives purity actually. So like we were talking about book distribution. So when people see, okay, that there is an IT engineer and he's standing in the books and he's distributing Gita, he's giving so much priority. He could have been making software 1 hour, 1 hour his fees is 5,000, 10,000 rupees, this fellow is now distributing Gita. That means valuable. Gita valuable, is it not? So people feel so many people feel moved, is it not? So that's the point. Not that I'm an IT engineer now, how can I stand and do book distribution? So what do people think? What do people think? So let people think whatever they have to think. So many people feel inspired because they understand, okay, this person is valuing Gita so much, that means really valuable. So we should not lower down our flags. The regulated devotional service has to be enthusiastically followed. And has to be enthusiastically followed. So only when we that is the only benchmark by which the principles of purity, one can enter the domains of purity and maintain the purity actually. Yes. 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 Yes, very true. So, so Gaur Mohanpur had affection, but he didn't wanted to compromise on his principles. That's the he didn't wanted to compromise on the principles. Prabhupada was ill. Gaur Mohan did not, but doctor was pressing. Gaur Mohan was not at all wanting to give meat. Mother was wanting. He not wanting. He said, "Come what may." Yeah, his conscience was like that. Come what may. He was ready for it. If that it, that it. So, finally, unwillingly crying, that that thing was done. And but Prabhupada didn't eat it. He himself vomited it out. And government said, okay, done, finished. Nothing to do. Finally came under pressure, so it was cooked outside and all that, and it was brought. So Prabhupada, the one morsel was put in his mouth, Prabhupada vomited it out. And then government said, no, leave it. Yes. So the 1 point adherence, so the most important adherence is to the regulative principles of devotional service. And every other relationship should be derived out from this main thing. Otherwise, there is full darkness and haziness all around actually. Now Prabhupada talks about further. Prabhupada is talking about, yes. Yeah. Yeah, so Prabhupada also, he was responsible. Uh, you see, whatever money he earned, he didn't keep anything for himself, he gave it to his family members. He was responsible in that sense. So he was struggling so much on, no, in his own life, for money. But he gave them money, he gave them everything. But then he saw that they are saturated, they are not progressing ahead in devotion service. The Prabhupada didn't wanted to keep just being there and just trying to lift them up when they were not getting up only. Prabhupada, so Prabhupada went forward, understanding that anybody is attracted, he will come, like that. Like Prabhupada, some relatives got attracted. His last son was a little bit attracted, so he was coming to Prabhupada. So not that Prabhupada guided on Sankarshan Prabhu, he came to Prabhupada. Is it not? So Prabhupada knew that, okay, let me focus on Guru and Krishna, and somebody is attracted, he'll come this side. Not that I go that side and just remain in that, what do you call it as, remain in that, kichad, kichad of material affairs and material attachment. So that's the point. So then Prabhupada also is pointing out here in this section very nicely that you see Vedic system is all about giving credits to others. That starts. We are that Prabhupada is saying, see, we are indebted. We are indebted to the acharyas. They have given us the scriptures, and we are indebted to the to the family ancestors. Why? Because they have given the culture which is being passed on. They have set the culture which is helping us in devotional service. So we are indebted actually. So that's why in a mundane sense also, there is this aspect about giving credit to others. Any person who doesn't give credit to others is an insane person. Sanity means giving credit to others. Because whatever we are and whatever we are, we can only remain if we cannot achieve anything alone. Because so many people have worked for it. Like, okay, we are enjoying Krishna consciousness. We have to give credit to Srila Prabhupada who has struggled. We have to give credit to the acharyas. Prabhupada is pointing out. You see, Prabhupada is pointing out in the beginning that people were not even given the the right to practice devotional service. You look at the affairs of Kali Yuga. People were not even given the right to practice devotional service. They were not even given the right to practice devotional service. Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj fought for it. Fought for the people. Otherwise, you see that Nityananda Vamsha is an example Prabhupada is talking about. So Nityananda Vamsha, they had usurped the right only to practice devotional service. They were monopolizing on the right to practice. Can you imagine? So our acharyas have struggled for it. The Lord has struggled for it. At one time, the Brahmanas had usurped the right to the scriptures from the common masses. That's why Buddha came. He said, hey, give up. Is it not? Buddha came on a revolt. Lord Buddha. So you see and so devotional service is not cheap, is it not? In our own lifespans, we have seen very recently there are so many countries where people are not even given the right to practice. Again, same thing, no? Like Russia, they were not given the right to practice Krishna consciousness also. And they had to struggle at the cost of their lives. For what cause? Just to practice Krishna consciousness. Just imagine. So Krishna is not cheap. It is our acharyas who have struggled and made it easily available. Is it not? So to get a system in place where Krishna consciousness can take place is very great struggle. So one should give credit. One should not be lost and infatuated. Oh, I'm advanced devotee now. I give lecture and 50 people sit in front of me and they like it. I post a lecture on YouTube. 2,000 people watch it. You know? So one should not get infatuated by all this. One has to understand all this. We are able to practice because so many devotees have struggled for us. So one should be in the habit of giving credit. As long as we are inclined to giving credit to others, we will be sane. Even materially, that principle is there. Give credit. Therefore, they say there are so many obligations. Obligation, 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 obligation. Is it not? Because if you understand obligation, you will be sane. If you don't understand any obligation, you'll go insane. So the only criteria where material obligations are put aside is when one understands or when one embarks on his prime obligation of pleasing Krishna. Then it is said, okay, you are on the highest obligation drive. Now you know, okay, small obligations is okay, not a problem. Is it not? That's the idea. So irresponsible behavior is the gateway to insanity. So one may say, no, we are children of Krishna, no, we are children of Krishna, you know? So we are children of Prabhupada, grandchildren of Prabhupada. Till what time you will remain children? Grow up and do something, you know? That's the whole point, you know? That's why Prabhupada used to criticize very vehemently or very strongly and emphatically speak about this this mentality of which was prevalent in the Western world, that okay, Jesus is our savior. Till what time you will keep harping on that note that Jesus is our savior? He'll take our sins. He'll take our sins. Can't you set right your sinful activities yourself? Take some responsibility. Share some burden of Jesus. You know. That would be Prabhupada's note actually. So we need to grow up and understand that okay, not children. So therefore, Prabhupada would not speak about Prabhupada would not encourage about okay, we are a child of God, we are son of God. You know, a son of God means also okay, I am entitled to enjoying. You know, let God earn, I will enjoy. Thus we will become a spoiled son. So Prabhupada said, no son business. You know, be the father of God. Huh? You supply, Krishna will enjoy. Again, not the reverse, you know. You supply, Krishna will enjoy, you know, like that, you know. Not that Krishna will foam and we will roam, you know. No. No? Reverse. Yeah, reverse, you know, like that. So that's the point. So this is very beautiful. Prabhupada's emphasis here. You see, Prabhupada, this beginning with the note of gratitude, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur gave us the right to practice devotional service. He fought for that. Otherwise, just like people feel that okay, if you want to be advanced, you need to be an American citizen. So people feel like that. Then what they do? How to become American citizen? You don't find any way. Then people only marry an American, you know? And it's okay somehow to become American. So actually, devotional service would have become like that. Only if you marry somebody in Nityananda Vamsha, then you can get the right to practice devotional service. This was a case state of affairs, no? You become sort of Nityananda Vamsha, no? Sort of somehow or the other. Very unfortunate. So Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur fought for us. So you should be grateful. That is the point. Okay, so this completes the 5th chapter. Yeah. One should not be a liability on the movement and on the Guru. one should, yeah, one should not be a liability on the guru, or no, one should be an asset. Uh, that's true. So we'll start chapter 6 then, and chapter 6 is talking about how to discharge devotional service. Srila Rupa Goswami states that his elder brother Sanatan Goswami had compiled Hari Bhakti Vilas for the guidance of the Vaishnavas, and therein has mentioned many rules and regulations to be followed by the Vaishnavas. Some of them are very important and prominent, and Srila Rupa Goswami will now mention these very important items for our benefit. So the purport of the statement is that Rupa Goswami proposes to mention only the basic principles, not details. For example, a basic principle is that one has to accept a spiritual master. Exactly how one follows the instructions of a spiritual master is considered a detail. For example, if one is following the instruction of a spiritual master and the instruction is different from the instructions of another spiritual master, that is called detailed information. But the basic principle of acceptance of spiritual master is good everywhere, although the details may be different. Srila Rupa Goswami does not wish to enter into details here, but wants to place before us only the principles. He mentioned the basic principles as follows. First, accepting the shelter of the lotus feet of a bona fide spiritual master. Second, becoming initiated by the spiritual master and learning how to discharge devotional service from him, obeying the orders of the spiritual master with faith and devotion, following the footsteps of great acharyas under the direction of the spiritual master, inquiring from the spiritual master how to advance in Krishna consciousness, being prepared to give up anything material for the satisfaction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. This means that when we are engaged in devotional service of Krishna, we must be prepared to give up something which we may not like to give up. And also we have to accept something which we may not like to accept. So one has to go against the force of the likings. So that's the point. So initially one may not like to get up, one has to go against that force. Is it not? Slowly when he comes to mode of goodness, he may start liking. Initially one may not like to give good amount of donations, but one should follow. Initially one may not like corrections, but we need to improve in Krishna consciousness. Seventh, see, residing in a sacred place like Dwarka or Vrindavan, accepting it only what is necessary, or dealing with the material world only as far as necessary. This is a very important principle. Don't deal with the material world too much. But too much you deal with the material world, it is going to catch. Is it not? So too much you deal with the material world will catch. Like that. Material world very dangerous. So therefore, better maintain the maximum possible distance. 9th, observing the fasting day on Ekadashi. And 10th is worshipping sacred trees like banyan tree. Worshipping sacred trees like banyan tree. So these 10 items are preliminary necessities for beginning the discharge of devotional service in regulative principles. In the beginning, a neophyte devotee observes the above mentioned 10 principles. Surely he will make quickly make good advancement in Krishna consciousness. See, the first 10 principles are the basic principles. These basic principles are so much centered around guidance. You see, 5 principles are centered around spiritual master only. Take initiation, follow the instructions, learn how to follow the footsteps of the acharyas. be on the mission, and inquire, offer service. Out of 10, first 5 are on spiritual master only. How much emphasis is on guidance? Then the next major principle is beware of material energy. Two principles are there on that. And be ready to give up anything material, and material not take it with a pinch of salt. Don't deal too much. Is it not? Very dangerous. So basic principles. So that means spiritual life is all about learning. You see the point. And learning from devotees, taking guidance from devotees. That's spiritual life about. And spiritual life is about alertness. So therefore we say, okay, a learning disposition which comes from a humble attitude and an attitude of Sharanagati and alertness. These are two aspects which one has to start devotional service with. See the next set of instructions. The preliminary necessities are spoken, then the next set of instructions are given. One should rigidly give up the company of non-devotees. Oh, rigidly give up the company of non-devotees. Very dangerous. Non-devotees. One should not instruct a person who is not desirous of accepting devotional service. Don't waste your time. But that fellow is not taking in. But you remain long there, you may start taking in what, in trying to evaluate why is he not taking in, or how to make him take or bring from what level he is in, you may get dragged down. So one should not instruct. One should not be very enthusiastic about constructing costly temples and monasteries. Correct. Why? Because the focus will become money. Because costly temples means you need to focus on money. And if the focus and obsession becomes money, then the consciousness may go material. That's the point. One should not be, costly temples. So one can try in a regulated sense, and whatever comes out is fine. Like that. But one should not be obsessed about it. Oh, I need to do it day and night, and working 18 hours. When a temple may get constructed, the person may get pulled out. He may not remain. Temple will remain. The devotee will get knocked out. But one should not try to read too many books. Yeah, this is very important. Nor should one develop the idea of earning his livelihood by lecturing on or professionally reciting Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita. Yeah, one should not read too many books. One should not be. See why it is said, okay, keep things pure. So one may say, okay, if I'm giving lecture on Bhagavad Gita, if people are giving me some money, what is the problem in that? The problem is that actually that mentality will creep in. That let me earn on. One may try to franchise every spiritual aspect. Every spiritual aspect. So because the mindset can go crooked actually. Therefore, one should keep that domain pure. Just like Bhakti Priyat Bhagavad Maharaj was once telling, see, he was telling a deity pujari cook, the day he is cooking, he should not eat what he has cooked. So what do they do? What is the problem if somebody eats a little bit? He's not greedy and all. If you eat, then what happens is that the taste is there in the head. The next time, one will be inspired to do that service. What is the motivation? I'll get to eat and I'll get the taste. Is it not? Our service mentality has gone off. Is it not? You see? Next time person say, okay, I'll put more ghee, more this, more that. Mujhe bhi to taste milega, na? So that aspect will become prominent. Therefore, it is said that you want to be on a full selfless note, then okay, take a principle. I am not going to eat when I cook. I am not going to eat when I cook. Rajbhog. Actually, Rajbhog is tasty, na? It ghee and everything and all that. They put ghee and gravy and kaju and everything. Yeah, so it's tasty. Anything you put a lot of ghee and all, it starts becoming tasty, So it is cooked in desi ghee only, it's not cooked in oil, Rajbhog. So one may get addicted to it. Actually, that's why this principle to keep things pure. So here it is said, okay, you don't earn on Gita at least in Bhagavatam. Otherwise, mentality will become like that. Now our preaching, our mentality is, or let him be a devotee, like that. Then the mentality will become, okay, let me charge. Huh? You want to hear? First give money, So mentality goes crooked. Preaching mode, service mode will get lost. One should not be under the spell of, or one should not be neglectful in ordinary dealings. Yeah, ordinary dealings. One should not be neglectful in ordinary dealings. Yeah, devotee is a gentleman, Prabhupada said. Not that we behave like a ruffian, like a Maoist. Oh, I don't care for anybody. Arey, padega na jor se. Is it not? So you see, one should be not neglectful in ordinary dealings. Not that we are devotees, we don't follow traffic light. Prabhupada said this is nonsense, Yeah. Or sometimes devotees, okay, we are devotees, and they would enter anybody's garden and pluck the flowers, Then they'll call police, they'll put you inside jail. Is it not, no, so now everything is Krishna's property. But behave yourselves, everything is Krishna's property, but you behave yourself, Everything is Krishna's property, that is fine. But you behave yourself. Yeah, so you're so in terms of actually, so one has to follow the gentlemanly protocols. Okay, one should not be under the spell of lamentation in loss or jubilation in gain. Yeah, lamentation and loss, something in loss you're crying. The more you or jubilation gain, sometimes it goes the other way around. So when something good happens, everybody's yeah, and next day, something wrong happens, and everybody's crying, So one should not disrespect the demigods. Yes, they are devotees. 8. One should not give up unnecessary trouble. One should not give unnecessary trouble to any living entity. Yeah, unnecessary trouble we should not give any living entity. Sometimes people feel, अरे ये देखो materialist, ये fallen soul है, चल इसके साथ मजा लेते हैं, And one is simply poking, Hey, you fellow, what do you think? You think, So sometimes, one should not be in that mood. Unnecessarily should not poke and agitate anyone. Is it not? Unnecessarily should not poke and agitate anyone. कि इसको भी मजा लेंगे, इसके साथ मजा लेते हैं. नहीं, मजा मत ले लो. Humbly we present, person accepting, well fine, we can help him. Not accepting, just give him prasad, pray for him. In the future, we'll keep trying. But don't trouble. Just not. Don't trouble like that. So therefore, actually, preaching should not be very crushing. Preaching should be encouraging. We should not keep a person reminded that okay, you are good for nothing. You are fallen. You are very your bhavishya is all black and dark and bleak and miserable. No, tell him something positive. What we can do? Is it not? And encourage when he is moving ahead. Is it not? Not that अरे ये क्या है? ये तो कुछ भी नहीं. ये तो बकवास. इसे एक माला करो. छह. है ना? 4 साल से भक्ति में हो. भागवतम नहीं पढ़ा है. 6. है ना? 6 साल 16 माला कर रहे. इनिशिएशन भी नहीं हुआ. 6. है ना? Like that, है ना? So this is a very very derogatory kind of attitude. This anti-preaching attitude actually. So one should not give unnecessary trouble. कोशिश कर रहा है व्यक्ति, you encourage him, help him out,